Hey everyone, and welcome to lesson 4. Today it's all about the language used by the mass media. So, we all watch a lot of TV or we get exposed to the mass media, and I'd like you to just consider the following. We know this one. His name's Barney. Um, Generally, a children's program where children learn, and you know that the purpose of Barney would be to educate, but it would also be to entertain little children. And then um, the next one, also a very well known cartoon, that's SpongeBob SquarePants over there. If you consider the two and you compare the two to each other, you will realize that the language used in Barney is a little bit more simple. They use smaller words. Whereas the language used in SpongeBob, the words are a bit more complicated. They are longer and they are not as educational as the ones used in Barney. That's because the purpose or the reason for the two programs do slightly differ. Barney is there to educate as well as entertain, like we said. But SpongeBob, on the other hand, he really has no educational value. He's just there for entertainment. And that's why you will find that the language used in the two is very different. But also, the language differs because Barney is aimed at a younger audience. Children watch this generally from like 1 to 3 years, but after the age of 3 or 4, they get bored with Barney and they start enjoying things like SpongeBob a bit more. So, SpongeBob is aimed at an older audience. So, here we have the purpose as well as the target audience that influences the way that or the language used in the mass media. Thirdly, we have generations. Now, generations is not educational, but it's for entertainment value. It is, however, aimed at yet an older audience, grown ups, people who work. So they come home and they enjoy generations. And the language used here is informal, but it's not as simple as, for instance, in Barney or in SpongeBob. It is of a higher level that it could be understood by grown-ups, whereas children might not always understand what is being said in generations. And then lastly, we have the news again. So if you look at the type of language used in the news versus the type of language used in generations, we will see that the news uses a more formal type of language. They don't use slang, they use factual language as opposed to the emotions and the slang used in generations. Okay, so yeah, we have a contrast in the purpose or the reason for the message. Generations is to entertain, while the news serves to inform. So we see how the language changes from Barney to SpongeBob to generations to the news, depending on the purpose as well as the target audience. And I've got that for you in the next slide. The language used depends on two things. Number one, the purpose of the message, and secondly, the target audience. It's very important to know this. So then we can take it even a bit further. When you watch, when you consume or you watch the mass media, because that's the main way that we use it, we watch things. Okay, you can contrast many things against each other. So I'm going to use my afternoon routine to just demonstrate something. To demonstrate, in the afternoon I finish cooking and I watch at 6 o'clock on SABC2. I watch Seven Dalan. This is a soap opera that deals with the lives and the lives of people in a certain part of Joburg. It's for entertainment value. I watch this not because I want to learn something, but because I want to relax and I want to switch off after a long working day. And they use a lot of slang, mostly Afrikaans, because I'm an Afrikaans speaking person. So the target audience here would be mostly Afrikaans speaking people. And then also more grown up. And then after 7 line at 6:30, I switch over and I watch not the channel, but I switch my mindset and I watch the news. Now we see formal, factual language. There's no slang being used, but because I still keep it on SABC2, it is Afrikaans again. So this Afrikaans speaking target audience, that is myself, watches SABC2, but you can just watch a different channel. If you watch ETV, you will watch a soapy in informal language and then the news in formal language. But then you watch one of the religious channels, you will have the formal language. You may have it in a different language, a different speaking tongue. So you see, it changes. The type of language, the formality or the informality changes according to what the purpose is and the actual language used, like the Afrikaans, English, Xhosa, that changes according to who's watching. Then, next up, we have emotional subjective language. Imagine I tell you that, oh, my little fluffy white cat is playing in the garden. You immediately, a picture like this will come up in your mind, right? That's a little fluffy white cat in a beautiful garden. But what's the important information? What is it that you need to know here? What am I telling you? I'm saying that my cat is outside. So if I had to take the emotion out of what I'm saying, I say, my cat is outside. Factual, objective language, you get a picture like that. That's a cat outside. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist putting that cat there because his face is precious. But you see the difference here. So in the next lesson, we're going to explore this more. But for now, what you need to be able to distinguish is when emotional or subjective language is used and when factual or objective language is used. Brings us to the end of this lesson. As usual, you can email me at jeffkester@gmail.com, or you can go to my Google Classroom code where I will have handouts of these slides, other documents, old question papers, all of that for you to download, for you to use in your quest to pass management communication in full. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep well. Bye-bye.